Oh, wow.
Yes.
What the hell is that?
What a beast!
Wow.
Oh, that's what it was.
Somebody faked your death for you by accident or something.
If you Google my name, it comes up with an obituary.
Good evening, afternoon, morning, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is for you right now. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of the WAYMOE Spotcast, Car Spotting Podcast. That was nice. Car Spotting Podcast. I'm your host, Charlie. I'm joined by a... Fair enough.
Yep.
I'm joined by my wonderful guest today, Scotty Fairnington. That's it. I've been practicing that the whole time.
Oh, Rover Metro!
That's nice. That's so cool. It's funny, there's not really been much while we've been setting up, and now everything's just arrived.
Well, it's a pleasure, Charlie. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you for coming on. If you haven't seen Scotty's stuff, I'm sure you have. You're bloody everywhere. First, I saw you like dotted around the internet for a bit, and then I saw you weld a camshaft back together and went, okay, this guy's cool. Because I'm very much mechanically sympathetic.
Yeah.
Like I can't grind a gear or like if I do anything to my car, I'm anxious about it for a week until I know it's not breaking. Whereas you recently took a engine out of a, was it Camaro?
Yeah.
Just using a hacksaw and some chains, basically.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I used to be a builder.
Oh, right, that explains a lot.
Yeah,
okay.
and like
the tradie approach.
Generally, like the most universal tool as a builder is a hammer, and it's what you use the most.
Yes, the Clarkson screwdriver.
Yeah, I'm very good with a hammer.
Yes.
Like I will hold like, you know, a pencil and hit it as hard as possible.
Yeah.
And I will not be afraid of hitting my hands. Because,
Really?
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Oh no, I will hit it full pelt. Like
Okay,
I'm good with a hammer, and
nice.
that's kind of where it comes from. Just rough and tumble.
Good with a hammer.
And to be honest, most of the time when I do videos like that, I do it to kind of grind people a little bit, because if it's on an engine that I actually want to run, I will not be doing that.
Yes. Yeah.
Like when we put the engine back in, we won't be that rough. But the engine was scrap anyways, and we just wanted to get it out as quick as possible. And we were like, well, how can we do it funny? Massive angle grinder, hammers, chainsaw, just whatever you would not normally use. So yeah.
Well, how long did that end up taking you in the end?
An hour or two.
Fair enough. That's pretty good for an engine out.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had quite a few beers in the process as well.
No, I think we were sober then.
Sober?
Yeah,
wow.
we were actually sober.
Impressive.
Oh no, we were violently hungover, and my mate had to stop for a sick break.
Yes, I remember the intro was like, I haven't been sick in at least 5 minutes, so we can crack on now.
Yeah,
we
were very hungover.
Yes.
But no, to be honest, my Volvo, the one where you seen me weld the camshaft, I got so good. I had the engine out of that 8 times, and obviously
8 times?
Yeah, 8 times.
Okay.
And I got so good that me and my mate would try and do like speed runs of how fast we could get the engine out.
Wow.
And the fastest I could get the engine out of that car properly was an hour.
Damn.
From like start to finish, like engine on a pallet, pretty much.
Are you using an engine crane at this point, I'm presuming?
Just block and tackle on a
Fairs.
roof. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Not lifting it out.
Yeah. You just bend over. No bend in your knees, just full on.
No.
Fair enough. So you've just been at, was it Rustival?
Yeah, Rustival.
Which is a festival I didn't know existed until yesterday.
Yeah. I apologise to the organisers. I didn't actually know it existed until I was invited as well. But it was really good. It was at British Motor Museum.
That's really good as well. It's got some proper cool stuff there.
There was a wide variety of cars. Pretty much, you name it, it was probably there. At least one of them. There was some really interesting rough, like, commercial vehicles.
Oh yeah.
There was like vans, like entirely made of rust, which, you know, I like seeing people drive stuff like that.
Yes.
But plus, you know, you had the motor museum as well, which is.
Did you get a chance to look around that?
Yeah. So I went.
So cool things.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, if you like Land Rovers, that is the place to go. It is great.
Well, they're based around here. They're just around the corner.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen any. You'll see the prototypes driving around in their big camouflage.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we saw the new Defender before that came out, and they've been driving the new Aston Martin Vanquish.
Right.
Oh, that's nice. Are you a big fan of the supercars? Do you like the? Or you're more of a.
It depends. I mean, I'm a big Porsche man.
Yep.
I do also like if I was going to get a supercar, it would either be a Porsche or an Aston Martin.
Okay. Yeah.
Mainly for looks. I mean, a Porsche, I would say, is like the ultimate driving car.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like,
it's just the perfect setup.
I got to drive a brand new, it was a Carrera GT something.
GTS?
Yes, I think it was like top of the range, had all optional extras. And is it the engine from the GT3 RS that's in it or something? If it's the...
it might have been a GT3 Touring. I'm not sure. It depends what you... There's so many... It's so difficult to remember.
I'm not really sure what it was, but after driving that, I was like, I want one of these. I would daily drive this. Like, it was brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant fun.
It might have been the GTS. I can never remember. The Porsche are so bad for it. Like, with their chassis codes... They named some of the chassis codes after cars that they made in the 80s. So 964 is a Porsche 911, but it's also its own thing. And then I think they have the record for the longest name, which is like 996.2 911 GT3 RS Club Sport Wyzak package.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like, it's just stupid.
Imagine saying that to people when you say what you drive.
Oh, yeah. You've got to be a bit of an anorak to go the full name.
I think that Porsche, it's like the last of the mid-engines that they made. It was four-wheel drive, mid-engine, so weight distribution was like perfect.
Yeah.
And the best way I could describe driving it was like cheating.
Cheating, right?
Yeah, like...
Oh, was this a Cayman? Was it the Cayman GT4?
Oh yeah, sorry, Cayman.
Cayman. That is it's a modified version of the GT3 engine.
They're convertible, right? Yeah.
Oh, so it would be Boxer GT4?
Yes.
Oh wow, yeah, that would be fantastic.
So that was in Slovenia.
Yes.
It was,
in Slovenia?
Yeah.
Wow,
it was
fair enough.
left-hand drive in Slovenia, driving through like mountain ranges. And,
wicked. Because you get about a lot. You're a big traveller.
Yeah, that was it was on the end of my Rust to Rome trip. So I drove all the way to Rome. And then afterwards, I drove up to Slovenia. I was visiting a friend, and then went up to Netherlands afterwards. But the Porsche was in Slovenia, so I got to drive it there.
Wicked.
Definitely insured and definitely speeding on private roads.
Yes. As we all do.
Yes, exactly.
And was it Slovenia where you? It wasn't Slovenia, was it? So you somebody faked your death for you by accident or something, right? At some point. Because I remember I was sort of like, oh yeah, I think I'm going to try and get Scotty on. And they were like, I thought Scotty died. I was like, huh?
People still say that.
I can't believe it. So I couldn't find anything about it online.
If you Google my name, it comes up with an obituary.
No way, really? So how did that happen? Because it was, as far as I'm aware, a friend said that you had died or something.
So it started from a YouTube podcast,
right,
where he announced my death in the most ridiculous, joking way possible. Like, if you watch the video, you're like, oh, that was clearly a joke.
Yeah.
And
clearly a joke is a blurry line these days.
It got clipped and put on TikTok.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of context left out, and it seemed a little bit more real, but it was still like a minute-long video. And if you watch to the end, you're like, that's not true. But obviously, Chinese whispers, people say one thing, and then the rumor just turned into Scotty's dead.
Yeah.
And it was diabolical. Like, it got back to my dad. Like, 3 people messaged my landlord saying I died, and my landlord is good friends with my dad, and he rang my dad, like asking if I was all right, and he was like, "Why are you bothered if he's all right? He's away."
Wait, he wasn't like, hey, I've heard Scotty's died. He was like, have you checked in on Scotty?
Yeah, he said, oh, have you seen where Scotty is? Like, have you checked in on him?
What a random phone call to get
didn't want it. Yeah, and my dad obviously freaked out. He's like, what's happened? Tell me what's happened. And he's like, well, I don't know how to say it, but I've heard that he's died. And for 20 minutes, my dad thought I was dead.
Oh my God.
Like, he nearly had a heart attack.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah, it was horrible. it gone beyond the joke.
So where were you when... Did your dad not call you straight away?
No, so my dad's workers that were with him called me.
Right.
And I answered straight away. The rumour was that I died in Ukraine.
Right.
But I was currently on a ferry going to Morocco.
Okay, so
when the news came out.
Part of the planet to start with. Okay.
Yeah, like...
So you have been to Ukraine, right? You did some...
Yeah, I've been 3 times now.
Wow, fair enough.
Yeah. I'm going again next month.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
Fairs.
If the war ends in Ukraine's favour, which I really hope it does, I'd probably consider moving somewhere like that.
Really?
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Is it nice out there?
It's nice, the people are friendly, it's cheap, and there's like little to no health and safety.
Right, yes.
And, a lot of the stuff that I like to do is... the funny people in high-vis don't let you do that.
Yeah.
They don't like it when you do dangerous things. So
I was watching a YouTube video a couple of days ago about the massive clock tower they've built outside of Mecca. It's the biggest clock tower in the world. It's like 100 times the size of Big Ben. It's absolutely astronomical. And they were like, there was a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. It's like, we're going to show you videos of people working, and it might look slightly out of the realm of what you'd expect on a building site, but we've decided to show it anyway, just because. And it's just blokes just like hanging around off the side of a building with an angle grinder going. It's like, you must get more stuff done quicker, but also you're trading off.
Well, have you ever watched Fred Dibner?
I haven't watched Fred Dibner, no.
Well, Fred Dibner's worth a watch. He was really famous in like the 1980s in England.
Yeah.
And the 90s as well. And he started off as a steeplejack. So he would climb up church steeples. And then he started demolishing like great big industrial chimneys. But he would get ladders and he would whack chisels into it and put wooden pegs and then peg the ladders on and strap them to the chimney.
Yeah.
And he would climb up a huge, massive, tall chimney,
yeah.
build a scaffolding around the top and then demolish it brick by brick down. And there was nothing but ropes and pieces of wood holding him up there. It's crazy.
That. Yeah.
But my dad's uncle had a saying when he was younger, back when he did building work, when he was my age, there was no health and safety. And he'd be up on a roof, no scaffolding, no harness, nothing. And his uncle would say to him, "You won't fall, there's nothing to stop you."
yeah, if you're not, if falling is imminent death,
you won't fall.
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
That's what he said to him. And that's what I say now. You won't fall, there's nothing to stop you.
See, I used to have a very slender grip on health and safety. Me and my friends, it must have been about a decade ago now, we used to do roof-topping.
Yeah.
Where we'd go, that building's tall, I want to get on the roof of that.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of, in like 1 a.m. in the dead of winter, climbing up the outside of scaffolding with our bare hands. There was a lot of that. And once we got onto a roof, and it was about 5 stories up, and we were on a flat level, and then there was one more story, but to get up there, we'd either have to give each other a leg up, or there was a sloped roof that would lead us straight up. So I was like, I'll climb onto the sloped roof. And I put my foot on. I'm like, oh, that's sturdy. And I put my other foot on, and I immediately just lose all grip and just slam onto this 45-degree angle and shoot down the side of the building, close my eyes and open them, and I'm just stopped. And along the whole of the guttering, there's one tree that my foot was on.
No way.
And if that tree wasn't there, I'd have shot off and gone down 5 stories onto the pavement. So we climbed down. I had about 3 cigarettes on my walk home, and I've not climbed up a building since.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mum.
That would kind of make you stop. Yeah.
Yeah, since then I've been a bit more timid when it comes to climbing things.
Yeah, I mean, I did rock climbing for quite a while, and I don't know, I find great enjoyment in being as high as possible.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about it.
Kaisha's got a great idea for rock climbing, is that there should be a cafe or a shop at the top.
Yeah.
So you get up there and you're not just like by yourself exhausted. You can like hang out and read a book or something.
If Snowdon wasn't so overcrowded, they've got the right idea there, but then you get people that just get on the train to go to the top.
Yeah.
I don't think the train should exist.
Yeah. It's funny with stuff like that, that's such an achievement to do that people flock to it. Like, have you seen the pictures of people queuing to get to get on Everest?
That's ridiculous.
And it's like, what are you doing?
Thing is, in the Himalayas, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of mountains that are maybe only a few meters shorter than Everest.
Yeah.
But the only reason people want to go up Everest is because it's the tallest.
Yeah.
But in reality, Everest is probably the easiest one in the Himalayas because there's a known path.
Oh yeah, very true.
There's a carved
There's people
path
that
for
look
you.
after it.
Yeah. So.
Big fan.
2 fans.
2 big fans.
There's a carved path and there's a known route.
Oh, look at that. Yes.
Oh yes.
So yeah, cars, because...
Have you seen the moose test with that?
No.
The G class or whatever they call it.
No, oh, hello. Oh, wow.
Yes. I would love one of them.
Yeah, mate.
If I got a classic Porsche, that is exactly how I'd want it.
They didn't really do it for me until I drove an original Beetle, and I was like, wow, one of these with like power and like set up properly would be amazing. So the moose test at the A class, does it just roll over?
Yeah, it's the most hilarious video ever.
The moose test is so funny.
Yeah, like it's great. It literally just flips straight over.
We're about to be airlifted to... Yeah, if people don't know what a moose test is, so it's set up by is it a magazine? Because it's not like an official regulatory.
I think the Swedish started doing it first.
And it's just a really heavy chicane to see if your car would roll over in an emergency stop. And some of the failures are catastrophic.
Yeah, I think the A-Class, it pulled the tyres off the bead, and then the second time they did it, it just completely flipped over.
That's incredible. Pull the tyres off.
They've fixed it now, I think. They had a massive recall.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm trying to think of... There's such good things to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially the crash tests of like... I've not watched it, but I know the Renault Zoe was the first... No, the Fiat 500 was the first 0-star Euro NCAP.
Which Fiat 500? The one that's...
Oh, no, sorry, not 500. Punto.
Oh, the Fiat... Oh, Fiat Punto.
Yeah, I think it's a Punto, yeah.
The one that's like on the road now?
They don't make them anymore.
Oh, right.
Is it Punto? This is my knowledge of shite. It's Punto, isn't it?
I would imagine it would be a Punto. Yeah. They're not exactly... I mean, it's called a bloody Punto.
Punto, yeah.
Like,
what a name for a car.
Yeah, Punto. It's almost punter.
Yeah, punter. Fiat Punter. That's funny. There's some names for cars these days.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep track of like a bunch of numbers.
I can't keep track of the Volvos. Volvos
that's the only one I keep track of.
So what's this?
It's a 740.
740. Okay, yeah. So 740 is what I default to. If I see a boxy Vauxhall, I'm like, that's a 740.
Yeah.
And then I'll see it and it's a 440 or a 940. I'm like, I don't...
The most common, like, older ones are 740s and 940s.
Right.
A 940 is pretty much just a facelift 740.
Oh, okay. So it's not a size thing. It is just an age thing.
No, it's... so the first number is the series.
Yes, people.
The first number is the series, and then the second number is the number of cylinders in the engine.
Oh, really?
And then the third number, it used to be the number of doors. So you would get like a 745 or a 760 or a...
That's the second time he's driven past.
You'd get like a 760 or a 960, and a 960 being a Volvo 900 series with a six-cylinder engine.
Oh, okay. That would be wicked.
Yeah. I've got one. I've got a Volvo 960.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, I drove it all the way to Sweden and back.
Damn.
Yeah.
To Sweden and back? Bloody hell.
I was living in Germany for about 3 months.
Oh, wow. Whereabouts in Germany?
Flensburg. Danish border, right on the top.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, right on the top.
I love Germany.
It's the bit I was in was boring.
Oh, really?
It was really flat, and like they don't have any of like the southern culture. Like I went there, and one of the first things I asked when I was living in Germany, I was like, "Oh, so when does Oktoberfest happen?" And they were laughing, going, "Oh, we don't do it here. That's the south." I was like, "Well, that's boring."
That's funny. To get Germany without even the interesting bits of Germany must be very boring.
I went there, and like I was used to like.
Oh yes. This is so silly. Sorry, yes, you were used to the...
Please say that's like an all-wheel drive, considering it's got like a plastic trim.
I think so.
Really?
I think it's like an all-road. I've never actually looked into it, but it might be, yeah.
I thought with the plastic trims.
Because it's like the Rover Streetwise, which is a 4x4.
They make the Polo...
Dune.
Yeah.
Polo Dune, yeah.
Polo Dunes as well. Aye. No, it was boring. Like their accent is very soft compared to what you're normally used to. They had none of the culture. I mean, they still drank a lot. Like, I was there over Christmas time.
Their beer is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Proper like Vice beers, yeah.
Yeah, well, once you go to Germany, the most depressing thing coming home is going alcohol shopping.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Yeah,
you just don't want to do it anymore. But no, they in Flensburg, they had like the main street was like 2 kilometers long. And during Christmas time, they had Christmas markets. And every second stall would be serving punch. And like, I don't know what their punch was made of, but the way you would home make it is you get Disaronno, you get apple juice and cinnamon, and you boil it so it's hot. It was really good.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it was unreal.
Disaronno and apple juice is a really good idea.
Like
and
50-50 sort of. Yeah. And then you drink that. But like every other stall was like punch. So by the time you got to the end of the street, you were absolutely off it.
I would like to do like a research project where you have a Christmas market that doesn't have Disaronno punch and a Christmas market that does, and see how it affects sales, because it must like double sales.
Oh yeah, I mean when people have had a few drinks, they're more willing to spend money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think. Yeah, mine as well. That was the most drunk people, like massively drunk people I've seen in public before.
Yeah, probably the same. When I was in Germany, it wasn't Oktoberfest, but the village I was staying in had their own little drink festival, and mate, there wasn't, if you were the sober, you were the weird one.
Yeah.
And that was, it's so cool out there.
Germany's great. I've got quite a lot of followers in Germany because of like spending a lot of time there, and like I've got the Trabant as well, but I absolutely love it. every time I go there in a car, I completely fill my car full of beer when I come back.
See, that must be really helpful for you. How much you've travelled, like, really spreads your, like, someone's in Slovenia. It's like, oh my God, this guy's in Slovenia, and it spreads there.
Well, probably the biggest help I ever got from like followers, like in another country. When I bought that Trabant in Hungary, I was really stuck and it needed like loads of parts to it.
Is the Trabant the one that you broke down about 20 or so times?
Yeah. But I put like an SOS message out, and I would say a good 10 people turned up with different parts for me.
Wow.
None of them could speak English, but they all knew who I was.
That's so great.
And so for 2 days, all 10 of us were working on this car together. It was like a team effort to get it on the road.
That's a bit of a different experience to what Auto Alex had at one point when he broke down, put an SOS out, and someone was like, oh yeah, I'll be there in 20 minutes, and then just kept telling him it'd be 10 more minutes until like 3 hours later, and he never showed up. Whereas you get 10 people that don't even speak your language showing up. That's so good.
Great.
That's so good.
Probably the funniest one was I was at a music festival recently, and the music wasn't really my vibe, and me and my mate were really bored, and we decided to build mega cans, which is just like a huge tower of cans. And we needed silicone and duct tape, and everywhere was shut on the Sunday. And I put a message out, and everyone was thinking, oh, he's broken down or something. And
shiny wheels.
This lad, he offered to come and drop the stuff off for us. And he was like, oh, so what's broken on the car? And I was like, mate, like this is just for stupidity. We're making mega cans.
Right, he was expecting.
He was expecting the car to be broken, and I was like, nah, mate, we're making mega cans. I paid him, and he was just laughing his head off.
That's so funny.
He didn't know what I expect. He was like, like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, mega cans. That's great.
You know, I was watching your episodes.
And
there was part of me, I didn't know whether it was like an automatic camera that like would focus on the cars, or it was a person.
I've had so many people be like, "How does the camera work?" It's a person.
Because like the rigs that you get on the back of like a car, they normally have like autofocus on them.
Yeah. We don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, we'll
sack our camera guy as soon as we got that. What's this? This is noisy.
What?
That's so cool.
Transit.
What the hell is that?
Oh, what a beast!
That is incredible.
Out of anything to drive past here, I would not expect something like that.
That's insane. That could tow a house, I think.
Oh,
those things. What the?
It sounded like a tank.
Yeah, that's insane. We have seen a tank drive through here, but we weren't filming, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah. It was on the back of a truck. It wasn't.
Right, okay. I thought you meant like literally rolling
just a tank
through.
Roll through.
Have you driven a tank before?
Weirdly enough, Scotty, I've not driven a tank. No, I'm assuming you have driven a tank.
Quite a few, yeah.
Quite a few. Are these actual tanks, or are they like weird, like halfway between car and tank?
Oh God, the really pedantic people on there
will be
like,
really pedantic.
It's not a tank, it's an armoured fighting vehicle.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
To me, if it's a big square and it's got tracks on it, it's a tank.
Fairs.
That's my opinion on it. And like whatever people say, I don't really care about it. But it was a tank.
Yeah.
Technically, I have driven a main battle tank, but like not far. It was literally just moved it forward.
What's the experience of driving a tank like? Is it? I was going to say it must be slow as miserable as.
You get in a tank and you're like, wow, I'm glad this isn't my job.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
stressful enough without being shot at, I can imagine as well.
I mean, I'm like 6'5", and tanks normally there's not a lot of headroom. But with me, I'm like that in it. I went to Armageddon tanks. They do like tank paintballing, and when I drove the tank around the field with the hatch shut, my head was stuck like facing forward. I couldn't move my head at all.
Bloody hell!
Because of like how little room. Russian tanks are especially bad for room. They're not very generous with their crew.
Really?
They're really, really cramped. I went in a T-72 tank, which is like a Cold War era main battle tank, and I got in the gunner seat, and literally you sat like this, and you have no arm room at all. You literally just sat in that position until you get out.
It's so miserable driving them for hours through the night.
Yeah. Funny enough, before I did like all this, like when I was younger, I wanted to join the army and I wanted to join the tank corps. And like now that I've driven tanks out of leisure, I'm like, I'm glad I don't do that as a job. It's diabolical. And what would be even worse is getting shot at, because it's like it's sort of like a amplifier when you get hit.
I can imagine the noise is horrific.
Oh, it would be deafening.
Bloody hell.
I don't think we'll be driving tanks into war anytime soon, thankfully.
Well, I hope not.
Well, yeah, hopefully
I
not.
hope not, yeah.
Well, who knows with the things where I can't speak properly. With the way things are going at the minute, who knows?
I don't watch or read the news at all, so I have no idea what's going on anywhere. I know there's a war in Russia and Ukraine, because that happened when I was reading the news, which was like 5 years ago now, it must have been. 4 years ago?
Well, I mean, technically, the occupation started in 2014, but the land invasion of Russia, Russian forces started in the start of 2022.
Yeah, and that was just after their exercise that they were doing, when they just appeared on all the borders. Yeah, so that's when I clocked out the news.
Yeah. It wasn't really being talked about before that, because it was... I mean, the Russians call it a civil war, but it was like occupation of like the eastern land.
Yeah.
They like took it back in 2014, but I mean, it's not really talked about in the news a lot anymore because people have just gotten bored of it.
You get numb to that stuff, don't you? Yeah.
People get bored of it.
Wow, that's cool.
It's a shame because like the situation hasn't really changed much, to be honest. But no.
So what did you do when you were out there? Oh, hello. Very quiet.
Do you like S2000s?
I do. I wouldn't want to drive one because I know too many people that have died in them.
Oh.
Because they're like, people put tons of power in them and they're not designed for it, and then they'll kill you. But yeah, they're cool.
They are rear-wheel drive though. That's very cool of Honda.
Yes. Yeah, it is really cool. See, when I first got into cars when I was quite little, I thought they were front-wheel drive because they're Hondas. And then someone told me they're rear-wheel drive. I couldn't believe it. Because people hate on S2000s.
Yeah.
They get the hairdresser kind of treatment sometimes.
People like that have never driven something like that.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't personally like the look of convertibles. I prefer a hardtop on a convertible.
Oh, if I had an S2000, I'd put a hardtop on it, yeah.
But when you drive a convertible, you instantly don't care about it looking bad because it's so fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it is so fun driving convertibles.
Like, you can't be sad in a convertible unless it's raining. Maybe.
Well, yeah, then it would be pretty sad.
Yeah.
Well, you just have to drive quicker so the rain goes over the top of you.
Yeah. Sorry. What were you doing in Ukraine?
So the first time I went, I took a fire engine across.
Okay. Is this during the war?
Yeah. Okay. This was May last year. And then the other two times I was taking 4x4s, and normally we just fill them up with whatever supplies we can get, like donations and whatnot. So like food for the frontline soldiers or medical supplies. Yeah. The fire engine mainly had firefighting equipment in.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be going next month as well.
How long are you over there for?
It varies. Most of the time I go, I stay in Ukraine for about a week.
And do you leave the vehicle that you come with there?
Yeah, it gets donated.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So the charity I work with is called Driving Ukraine. You can look it up there, drivingukraine.org.
I'll put a link in the description,
It's run by a lovely guy called Finn, and he's been in and out of Ukraine since the start of the war. Like he was clearing landmines on airfields like when it first started.
Wow.
And he's younger than me. He's 23.
Bloody hell. I pictured like a 50-year-old bloke that was really like, wow, fair enough.
And then he started donating vehicles, and I think so far he's brought over like 120.
Wow.
And I just give them to him pretty much when I get there because it cuts any middleman out. He deals directly with the military, and he finds out exactly where it needs to go. So there's no charity in Ukraine that they give it to.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
it stops any chance of corruption or it getting sold to the wrong people and whatnot. So
or someone just doesn't know where it needs to go.
Yeah, or people. Well, when a country's at war and people are bringing stuff for free, everyone's going to want that stuff because everyone wants free stuff. Yeah, and they'll just sell it and keep the money. Yeah. So if you give it to the military, even if they sell it, then the money's going towards them and their lads. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Exactly. But that's what I'll be doing next month as well. I'll just see what I can fit in the car and then go across. But next time I go, I want to do a lot more like documentation sort of style videos because I want it.
It's been a hell of a drive.
It takes about 4 days.
Yeah. See, I haven't even done a day drive.
Yeah.
I've done about 4 or 5 hours, maybe tops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've not.
The longest I've driven in one go was 20 hours. That was.
I'm presuming you pulled over a couple of times.
Yeah, it wasn't just me driving.
Yeah.
There was eight of us in a minivan, and we were driving from the front line in Ukraine all the way back to the border.
Yeah.
And it takes about 20 hours to get there.
Oh, so do you all go in your own cars and then come back in a minivan?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've got a permanent vehicle there that just gets used for the charity.
Yeah.
And so that followed us all the way to the front line.
That's so cool.
And then took us all the way back.
That's so cool, not that. Just want to clarify.
Yeah, I'm not really I don't. What's your opinions on Volkswagens?
I like the old ones.
Yeah.
And I think if someone does have a Golf R in the right way, I look at it and go, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
But that's as much as I can really stomach. I like Scirocco's and the standard Golf. I'm like, it doesn't do it for me.
See, what I don't understand about Volkswagens, people bang on about them being, reliable and whatnot, and they've got like their PD engine, which is
That's a cool engine.
Yeah, apparently it's like the best engine in the world and all this. But when have you ever met a car owner that has went through 5 gearboxes and 6 turbos?
Yeah.
And they say that they're reliable. And I'm like, I have never broken a gearbox.
Yeah.
I've broken a gearbox on purpose, but never by accident. So how can they sit there and tell me that they're good, reliable cars when they do all that maintenance?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah, I don't get that. They're very much like Mercedes as well. People are like, on BMW, they're reliable, and they're not.
No,
they're not
BMW,
reliable.
no. I think Mercedes are.
Ooh, I don't mind that. That was 3.2.
That's the only Audi I would have, is a Mark 1 TT.
Yeah, I had a Mark 1 TT.
Really?
I had it 5 days and then I crashed it.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't great. That's not great.
I've been in one and it was very fun.
They are awesome cars to drive.
I really do like. What engine was it?
225,
Oh,
1.8T.
Yeah. My first car.
Yes.
A
Well, that's-
Renault Clio.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was
What
a
was this?
Mark II,
Yeah.
Phase 1.
Oh, Phase 1.
Phase 1.
They look like they've just smoked a really good spliff.
Yeah. I really loved that car. It was brilliant. And by the end of it, I'd fully painted the whole thing chalkboard black.
Oh no.
Which was a bad idea because I was working in a pub with lots of colourful characters in there that like to write very naughty things on it.
Ah, that's good, yes.
One of the funniest ones was IRA bomb on board.
Just park that outside the pub and see how that
it
goes.
was parked outside the pub. But yeah, that was my first car. It was a great little thing. It kind of got me into cars because
Really?
I couldn't afford to. I didn't care about cars before I started driving at all.
Okay.
I had no interest in them whatsoever, and I got that Clio, and I was skint. I was putting like £5 of petrol in every time I'd fuel up.
Yeah.
And if it would break, there was no chance I could afford taking it to a garage, and so I just had to YouTube everything. And
That's good. That's
I did all the maintenance on it. Probably the funniest mess up I did was crack the sump.
Was that over tightening it? Or?
Well, I tightened the sump plug, and it was leaking a little bit. And I was like, maybe it just needs nipped up. And I nipped it the tiniest bit, and it just twisted like that, and then just poured out.
Yeah.
And I panicked, and I drove it to my friend's house with it leaking the oil. And my mate was like, mate, like, what can we do? Like, we can't do anything.
There's nothing you really can do.
We bodged it and then drove it to a workshop and fixed it.
Brilliant.
But, yeah.
I did similar on my MR2. I over tightened it and it just was spinning.
Yeah.
But it wasn't pouring out. So when my mate Damon came over that was going to help me do the work, and I was like, right, I'm going to start with the shittest problem. I've rounded off the sump plug. So what we ended up doing is he got under the car with an impact driver, and I wedged a screwdriver in it and levered it while he just held the impact driver on at full speed until it just managed to whale its way out.
Yeah.
And then I think I ended up changing the sump in the end, to be honest, because rookie mistake. I'm very disappointed at myself.
Everyone, probably the most stupid thing I've done.
Oh, Jimny! Two-tone Jimny, yes.
I like Jimneys. They are like, if you soup them up, they are some of the best off-roaders.
Yeah, they seem
They're
to be
great.
really popular for off-roaders. It's probably why the prices have stayed pretty stable.
The biggest up I've ever done.
Yeah.
I was rebuilding an engine in this van, completely stripped it down to literally the main bearings.
Yeah.
And I put it all back together, and
See where this is going.
I got it in the van. It was literally ready to turn the key, and the box was there for the main bearings.
Yeah.
And I looked in the box, and there was a shell still in the box, and I was like, I've missed a main bearing, and I rang up the company that I got it off. It was off an engine shop.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you put a spare bearing in the boxes? They were like, no, we don't put a spare bearing. I was like, oh my God. I had to tear the engine back out, completely strip it down again.
Yeah.
Checked it. Guess what? The bearing wasn't missing. they chucked another one in by
you
mistake.
bastards.
I was so mad. I was so mad.
I did similar actually. It was again with my MR2. I'd finally got the engine ready to put in the car, and we spent ages with the gearbox. We didn't end up putting the engine in that day. Something's rumbling from both sides.
Oh.
Ooh, what the?
It was rumbling.
Oh, it's the bike's rumbling that way, I think. But it's so. Whoa!
Oh, that's what it was.
Fucking hell. You can hear that coming from a mile away.
Yeah, that's what was rumbling.
Yeah, yeah, we didn't get the engine in, and we were like, all right, we'll come back tomorrow and do it. And then I was in my garage, and I looked on the side, and there was a bag of washers. I was like, what are those for? So I had a look, and I measured the diameter, and then I Googled, and find them, and they were the washers for the head bolts. So I ended up undoing the head bolt, undoing one head bolt, putting the washer in, doing it back up, then doing the. So I managed to get away with it, but yeah, fuck it. I'm so glad I didn't put that in the car.
Well, the head gasket didn't go. Or...
I've not driven it enough to know if it's.
All right. Fair enough.
I think it's all right because.
The only trouble is if they're stretch bolts.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, because when you tighten them, that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
For one-time use. I have heard some people reusing them.
Yeah.
But they say, oh, you should only. I mean, a lot of people will probably say you shouldn't do it, but I've spoke to some engine shops and they said, oh, the only risk of reusing them is if they're worn and they'll snap when you try and torque them again.
Right. Yeah. So if they're fresh, that's what I heard. It's because the engine hadn't been ran and they were brand new.
Yeah, I think probably
get away
fine.
With it.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought as well. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, if I'd have took out the 40-year-old engine and then used the same head bolts, it would have been a different story.
That's asking for trouble.
Yeah. I just realised how my shoe was. Look at that.
Hmm.
That's great.
I mean, they're not as bad as mine.
I like people that actually wear the shit out of their shoes.
Yeah.
Because I see people with shoes they've owned for 3 years and they look brand new. Just walking around puddles or not creasing them or anything.
I bought a pair of Doc Martens and after 6 months they had a massive hole there going across them. And I went back to the shop.
6 months?
Yeah, 6 months. And I went back to the shop and they gave me another pair and they lasted 3 months.
Bloody hell, you're just kicking everything
No.
that you walk past.
I don't know why, but Chelsea boots, Doc Martens, they have a
the
problem where
crease
they crease really bad and they just rip open.
Oh wow!
I think I've got them with me. But
just a big hole in there.
If Doc Martens are listening to this, your Chelsea boots have a problem, and I have milked the out of the fact that they just replace your boots if it's not within 2 years.
As they should.
Yeah.
3 months is crazy.
Yeah, that's my third pair,
Damn.
and I've only paid once.
Yeah,
but I'm on my third pair now. They've replaced them twice.
You're hearing that, Dr. Martin?
Yeah, come on, make your Chelsea boots better. They're terrible.
Maybe they don't have a thing against Chelsea and they're just trying to send a message.
Maybe. I mean, these are belters. I've had these years. They're bucklers, and look at that. They've never failed.
Yeah, that's great. They should last that long. The fashion these days, it's just you wear it for 3 months, you throw it away.
Well, that's why I'm happy to make stuff like this.
Proper rugged stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I want to make good workwear.
This Carhartt jacket's still going. I think it's older than me.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, funny number plate. That's got to be a bike.
Sounds like a bike. Oh.
That sounded like a bike. Ford Mondeo was the last thing I would have predicted
I would never have said Ford Mondeo.
Because from a distance it sounded like a bike. Oh, wow.
That's a lot of oil.
But as it got closer you could hear the big intake noise.
Yeah.
But Mondeo is not what I was expecting.
No, I've thought bike.
Top trumps?
Yes, I was just thinking we've forgotten the top trumps. So we'll do one each just to make it a bit more high stakes. Are you aware of the top trumps? Do you know how the top trumps work?
No, I don't know how the top trumps
So
work.
what we do is normally I have the guest pick a top trump, but we'll both pick one because it's 30 minutes into the episode.
Right.
And if the car that we pick shows up, we've got to pack up and go home early. Audi A2, that's cool.
Didn't they make a concept one of them that got 120 miles per gallon or something?
Yes, it's called the 100L or something.
I would want one. I would genuinely have one.
Yeah, it was that, and they did it with a Lupo as well. Yes, so pick a card, any card.
What should be a Trabant?
We do not have a Trabant, I'll tell you. Oh, I think we were going to be safe going off yours.
Wow. Okay.
What you got?
Ferrari F40.
Oh, okay. Right, I'll pick one.
There is no chance.
Do you know what? I wouldn't write it off. I have seen a F40 on this very road.
Yeah. I mean.
But the chances are low.
Here we go.
I was going to say, watch this be a McLaren F1. It's a McLaren F1. Should we
No
pick
way.
another one each?
Yeah, go on. I'll give you yours.
Good thinking. Very efficient.
We'll have 2.
Watch this be like an LFA. A BAC mono. Okay. I know what we can do.
What?
This is a better idea. This might be a bad idea, but
What's that? Is that shit boxes?
this is like NPC cars.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll have your F40 back, because if we see an F, I'll leave that there just in case we see an F40.
There is no. I will freak out if we see an F40.
Well, the thing is, if I see an F40, I want to go home anyway, because we've achieved. We're not going to get any better than that. So this might be a risky move, and we'll only pick one here because this really could. Wow!
Oh, lovely.
Did you hear that engine? That sounded fantastic. This really could shoot us in the foot here, Scotty. So, pick a card, any card. Oh, all rides on this. What is it?
A Ford Focus.
A Ford Focus.
A Ford Focus.
There's a Ford Focus
There's
there.
a Ford Focus right there.
Do we go home?
Nah.
I don't know.
I think
it has to drive past.
Yeah, it has to drive past.
That's good. I think we're going to get an early beer at this rate.
There we
So
go.
a Ford Focus and an S40.
A Ferrari F40.
Okay. They will blow away on this week. There we go.
I.
Oh, it's a Ford Focus. Oh, it's a Ford Focus.
No way! No way!
Well, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I've been Charlie, this has been Scotty. Kaisha's been filming. Have a lovely time. Do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe. Bye-bye.
Is there anything that you want to shout out?
Oh yeah, do you want to plug anything?
Shout out to drivingukraine.org.
Oh yeah, that'll be top of the description.
Yeah, easiest way if you want to help with Ukraine in any way possible. Check out the website, see what they're up to, maybe get some inspiration for your own fundraisers. It's not that hard. All you do is set up a GoFundMe, find a vehicle and just drive it across, get in contact with them.
I'll have to do that.
And shout out to Raymond's as well. If you want some good workwear, check out raymonshardware.com.
Wicked. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
No worries.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you very much.